Hello and welcome to the Rams pregame show, delivered by Little Caesars, the official pizza of the LA Rams. The Rams 2-2 on the season, about to take on the unbeaten Eagles. Ooh, this could show up to be a good one here at SoFi Stadium. I'm Camryn Irwin alongside DeMarco Farr and senior staff writer Stu Jackson. Now we're going to talk all things storylines, matchups. You're not going to want to miss a minute of this conversation. And the biggest storyline, I think, coming into today's game, Kupp about to make his season debut. What does that mean for this Rams offense?
Oh, man, Batman returns. Did you guys see the bat signal? That means hope is coming. The guy is coming back. So, look, Kupp being hurt is never a good thing. But when he got hurt, I think was most important because it gave Matthew Stafford a chance to get acclimated with Tutu Atwell and Puka Nacua. But having Kupp back on this field today is huge for the Rams, no doubt.
We all know what he means to this offense with that Triple Crown winning 2021 season. So you put that back in the mix, it obviously can't do anything but help Matthew Stafford in this offense today.
Well, you talked about Kupp breaking records in that 21 season. Well, Puka Nacua has also been breaking records through the first 4 weeks. It's wild to think about some of the numbers that he has put up. And considering the fact of, how about this, the top 2 in the NFL in receptions per game and receiving yards per game, it's Kupp and Puka Nacua since 2021. So what does it mean to have potentially both of them out there on the field at the same time?
Well, you got problems defensively. You have to figure out which way you're going to drop your safeties down. And at some point, it's going to open it up for Tutu Atwell. It's going to open it up for Van Jefferson. Somebody's going to see man coverage and be in one-on-one coverage because of Puka Nacua and Kupp's presence on the field. So let's hope somebody takes advantage of the presence of Kupp to get the ball down the field.
I know this much. Puka's been winning his matchups one-on-one, whether he's been defended in man coverage, he's been able to find leverage and voids in zone coverage. Now when you put Kupp out there, that gives you 2 guys in the passing game as far as targets to give you those matchups. So looking forward to seeing what the Rams offense can do with both of those guys out there on the field.
Well, you mentioned almost what I was just about to ask you, which is what is making Puka Nacua so successful? People have been talking about him throttling down at his routes, picking and choosing his spots, creating separation. There's so many different elements to why he is so good, but one of the biggest elements, he's got Kupp alongside him. And get this, the Eagles' pass defense ranks 27th right now, so that could be a very good situation for the Los Angeles Rams.
Oh, absolutely. They have a heck of a pass rush coming the other way, but if you can get beyond the pass rush, that secondary is as vulnerable as anybody in the NFL, especially with guys like Puka Nacua. Remember last week when he got hit in the head and they called defenseless receiver? I'm like, wait a minute, the corner got it worse than he did. Puka Nacua is huge. He's a big physical guy just like Kupp, so it balances the offense and it helps out Matthew Stafford.
It also gives them another very willing run blocker in terms of those surfaces in the run game. We all know how willing Cooper is in that phase. We've seen it already with Puka Nacua. Those guys love to contribute in that aspect of the game, and so I'm really looking forward to seeing what they do there.
Well, you guys mentioned the physicality. One of the plays that stuck out was actually the pass interference call that was on Puka Nacua, third quarter against the Colts. He looked like he was playing a bully on the playground against Flowers. I mean, he got called for it, but man, that man is no doubt physical. And now the next player we have to talk about, if the light wasn't shining on Puka Nacua, it'd probably be on this man right here, Kyon Williams, running back number 1 for the Los Angeles Rams. 6 scrimmage touchdowns to this point. He has been so impressive, but what has impressed you the most about his run game?
I think he's been a more physical inside runner than I gave him credit for. I mean, he is really physical, keeps his leg going through contact, and he's pretty good around the goal line. And I like the way he picks up in pass protection. He's a willing blocker, so he's a guy that Matthew Stafford can trust to protect. He's a guy he can trust coming out of the backfield to catch the football. But what surprised me most at his size is he's so physical running the ball between the tackles.
He's a great fit for some of the gap scheme stuff the Rams have been doing more often in the run game. And his vision, too, is something that's really impressed me. There have been times where I've seen the highlights or gone back and watched the tape, and he seemingly made something out of nothing when you think a gap or a lane isn't there. And so in addition to being a complete back like you talked about, DeMarco, with being solid in pass protection and also making those efficient runs, he's been really great in that phase as well.
I think back to Matthew Stafford after the loss to the Bengals, and he said, we have to establish the run game. They came out against the Colts, and they did just that. 36 run, 40 on the pass in terms of plays that direction. How important is it today, and how can they do it against this Eagles defense?
Oh, I think it's very important. I mean, look, It would be nice if Camryn Williams or any Rams running back could run for over 100 yards. That means you're controlling clock, you're controlling the game, but it's going to be tough. They're as tough as they come against the run. They just do not let you run the football, but you have to run the football to keep them honest. If there's no threat of run, they're going to pin their ears back and get after your quarterback. They're going to do that anyway. So you're going to have to keep them off balance with the run game. And who knows? This could be the day Camryn Williams bounces, spins off, pinballs off a guy, and gets going for a big run. That would open the game up. That would help out Matthew Stafford.
I was just going to say, DeMarco, in addition to keeping that Eagles defense off balance, you need that run game to also stay efficient on early downs. It's worked well, and it's been a big part in the Rams' success so far, and helped them in that regard as far as keeping the offense on schedule and not having to face some second and third and longs as often. So you keep that on schedule, good things are going to happen.
I mean, we've seen multiple games with 2 touchdown performances from Camryn Williams. Maybe today is lucky number 3. Who knows?
So.
That'd be pretty impressive. Well, we also need to talk about how we are going to slow down the offense on the other side. One of the premier quarterbacks in this league, Jaylen Herz, well, he has a lot of weapons. Is there a way to slow him down, DeMarco?
No. In a word, no.
We need to figure it out.
The best way, look, there's only one Swift that matters to me in the NFL, and that's this one that plays for the Eagles. So if you want to shut down Jaylen Herz, you got to stop Swift. You got to take away the run game. He's got a lot of weapons, but you got to make him one-handed. You got to make him throw to beat you. And even with that, it's going to be tough to stop. The guy can do everything. He can throw for average. He's got a gun. He can scramble. He can scramble to run, scramble to pick up just to buy time. I mean, it's a full-course meal for the Rams to stop him, but the best way to do it, take away the run game.
I would also add to that, too, DeMarco, keeping contained on the edge, similar to facing Anthony Richardson and the Colts last week. If you don't want Jaylen Herz to make those off-schedule plays, those off-platform throws when things break down, or even to just break, contain, and make plays with his legs in terms of scrambling and picking up yards on the run, you got to keep contained on the edge and make sure he doesn't get outside.
Can I add to that real quick?
For sure.
Who's the best edge rusher you have on this football team? Aaron Donald. Who's the best interior rusher you have on this team? It's Aaron Donald. Unless you can clone him, good luck. Yeah.
I was just about to ask you. We can't forget about the fact that we have Aaron Donald.
Oh, yeah.
There is a big effect that comes about, but you also think about the other pieces to this defensive line, and I've been really impressed with some of the new names coming in, Kobe Turner, and not to mention Byron Young and what they have done. What has impressed you about this defensive line, and how can they really get after the Eagles?
I think we both have been impressed with Kobe Turner.
Yep.
I mean, he's the guy. He would be the heir apparent on this football team. When Aaron says, I'm done, it would probably be him next as the guy.
Yeah.
But you need guys like Bobby Brown to step up, who's playing a major role. You got to get to the quarterback. He's a great run stuffer. Get to the quarterback. Jonah Williams, same thing. You're a great run stuffer. But at some point, you've got to get on the quarterback. Michael Hoyt, same thing. You've got to get to the quarterback. You've got to help Aaron out. Look, right now, Aaron is your only pass rush threat. That has to change today. These guys have to grow up.
No, that's very true. And one of the areas we're going to be looking to also, just in terms of trying to slow down this offense for the Eagles, is obviously looking to the secondary. DBs are going to become hypercritical when you take into account Brown and Smith. Who are some of the matchups you're looking for, and who would you like to see match up against those two guys? Go ahead, Stu.
I think one of the matchups that I've certainly got my eye on is in the secondary with the Rams defensive backs against Eagles receivers A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. This Rams secondary has been tested early and often this season when it comes to some dynamic receiving duos. They'll get another one here today, and so to be successful today, you got to limit their impact as much as possible, which, again, as I said in my game preview this week, is easier said than done given how talented both of those guys obviously are.
Oh, no doubt. I would echo that same sentiment, but I would say it's more Raheem Morris. You're going to have to back up, keep those guys in front of you, and come up and make tackles. Yeah. Because trying to cover those guys man for man down the field, one or both is going to beat you if you don't get there. So if Aaron can't get there, then you're in trouble in the secondary. So Raheem Morris versus that passing game, big time today.
Well, another position group. Look at that. They're coming
Butterfly.
at you. They're
That's
coming
good
at
luck.
you fast. That is good luck. There's no doubt about it. I love it. But now one of the areas, a position group that could get tested today is the Rams offensive line. Important to note, Joe Noteboom inactive for this game. However, we spoke just prior to this, and you're really excited about Kevin Dotson and what he's putting together. Why do you like him?
Oh, my God, he's a monster. I mean, look, he looks like a guard without pads. When he's in pads, he's huge. And I do love it. You have a right guard that's a mile wide and a left guard that's a mile wide. And then you bring back Stu Jackson, who I think might be the nastiest offensive lineman you have. If you beat him, he's going to grab you and tackle you. I love that out of him. So to me, with respect to Joe Noteboom, and I have a lot of respect for that guy, this is the best 5 you have on the football team. Yeah. On the football team, this is the most physical group you can have to face the Philadelphia Eagles.
Absolutely. I love what Steve Avila and Kevin Dotson both did last week, especially in the run game. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do this week. You need that size on the interior, especially against an Eagles defensive line that has the likes of guys like Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, 2 massive human beings that can stuff those gaps and make life difficult, and so they're going to be critical.
Well, I think Matthew Stafford and Mrs. Stafford likes this offensive line, definitely. Yeah, protect my husband, no doubt.
Well, the defensive line for the Eagles is notable, and speaking of notable, also out this game, Fletcher Cox. Woo! Could that make a big difference for the Rams' offensive line?
This is so crazy. They are so loaded. I don't think it makes that much of a difference. I mean, Fletcher Cox is an all-pro. No. He can get to anyone. He can bull rush just about anybody in the National Football League, but they don't miss a beat when he's on the bench. I don't think they'll miss a beat when he's out of this football game.
Exactly, DeMarco. It's like I mentioned, with that depth they have on the interior, yes, you're missing someone who's very valuable from an experience standpoint, but they'll still have plenty of guys that are going to be able to at least somewhat make up for that absence on the interior.
Well, we're starting to run out of time, but we cannot forget one last topic, because Matthew Stafford just a week ago, a very gutsy performance, dealing with a bit of a hip injury. What are your expectations for him today?
Same, man. Look, he's been playing inspired football. I think he's been the best quarterback in the NFC by far, what he's had to go through. But you're going to need another performance. You're going to have to take it to a whole new level. You're going to have to go through pain to win this football game. They're going to get after you. They're going to get to you. I'd say 25% of his passes he's not going to see, because he's going to be picking himself up off the turf. So if you're on the other end, just make sure you catch the football. Don't let him go through this for nothing.
The windows are going to be a lot tighter in this game than I think any other games the Rams have faced this year, as far as those throwing windows for Matthew Stafford. And so, to your point, it's on the receivers to make sure they make the most of those opportunities, but also, as we've seen Stafford do routinely this year, got to fit them in those windows and make the most of those throws and opportunities when they are there.
Well, you talk about small windows. If anyone can find one, it's Matthew Stafford. Some of those no-look passes, that man is lights out. But we've got very nice impersonation. All right, it's time to head now to our Pizza keys to the game. And Stu, starting with you, what is your key to the game? Ooh, you got one?
Starting with Sue. Oh, for me?
Oh,
yes.
Go for it.
Definitely. Keeping Matthew Stafford upright is number one. I mean, look, he's got to start and finish the football game. That's number one. So we're going to leave this stadium saying one of two things. Either Matthew Stafford is the toughest guy we've ever seen quarterback, or we're going to be talking about the backup quarterback, no doubt.
And for you, Stu?
I think for me, it's not letting the Eagles get in short yardage situations, whether it's the famous QB sneak play, the brotherly shove or tush push or whatever you call it. Just don't let them get in that situation to begin with. It's, again, easier said than done because of the run game they have, and also obviously the talent of Jaylen Herz. But if you can do that, I feel like that'll go a long way as well.
And then my last and final key, I'm going to actually say it's all about the run game for the Los Angeles Rams. I think if Kyron Williams can be just about even 75% of as effective as he has been in the previous 4 matchups, I think that's going to set up some big shots downfield. So that's where I'm looking in terms of the Rams establishing their run game. Now that's a wrap. We are all done with the Rams pregame show delivered by Little Caesars. It's time to click on the QR code on the bottom left of the screen and make sure you order Little Caesars online during the Pizza pregame and get it delivered or pick up in store in the pizza portal. Kickoff is just a few short minutes away at 1:05 on Fox. We're going to have a great show here in SoFi. You're not going to want to miss this one. It's Los Angeles Rams versus the Philadelphia Eagles.
No look.